everybody. I'm Jeff Miller. Welcome to Free Yourself Podcast, where we invite you to create space to flourish. I'm tripping out a little bit because we have the amazing Paul Fino, maybe better known as Paul Reacts, King of the Gourmands, I guess, TikTok King of the Gourmands, they might say. Is that fair?
No, absolutely.
Paul's an award-winning content creator, and the thing that's amazing about you is your authentic reviews are all like fun and cheeky, and you've got this amazing energy, this incredible storytelling, and you're constantly building an audience. And I mean, he's won over the hearts and noses of millions for that very reason. So listen, we are so grateful to have you. And I said to you earlier, is that it really is exciting for us that what you're about is building community for fragrance, but it's so much more than that. And the more time I've spent with you and spent watching your work and what you're doing, it's inspired me, and I think inspired a lot of other people. So
thank you so much. That honestly means the world to me, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. This is so much fun. I'm so excited to get into some new fragrances that you guys are coming out with.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. So thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Well, listen, I'm putting my neck on the line here. I want you to be completely honest, and I know you've been able to smell some of our Elements collection, which is our original collection from Free Yourself. I want to just kind of give a little bit of a preview. So Paul has been so generous, and thanks to Jack and Anthony as well, who supported Paul coming over here. I was hounding them and was there a little bit of a stalker. But we're doing this motorcycle tour. I'm doing this motorcycle tour crossing the United States. And today's the first stop. So I just drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. So we're looking out over the Las Vegas Strip right here.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Paul's home, and so we're thrilled for that. The tour is about it's about storytelling. It's about resilience. It's about bringing people together through all different kinds of various occupations, generations, gender. It's really about letting people know that we can start to communicate, that there are ways for us to communicate to start bringing us back together. So we launched it at a Pride party in Beverly Hills last night, thanks to Los Angeles Magazine. It was pretty amazing. And yeah, you're the first stop, and I feel as though you are this amazing, fresh voice, storytelling voice when it comes to fragrance. I want to just ask you, like, your authenticity is, I mean, there's a certain level of improvisation that comes, but I mean, I think you really dig the fragrances and what you're doing and what it's about, and more importantly, the sharing of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when it comes to authenticity, you have to have a really large backbone inside of this industry and community, because there's a lot of amazing offers, but not all of them are going to be good for you or your image, or for who you are as a content creator, or maybe suit who you are as the type of content that you create, or what type of fragrances you like. So I think starting this for almost 5 years now, doing social media and influencing, there's always a fine line of okay, I know what I would want to do, and then there's things that I will never put my name on something X, Y, and Z, or I would never work with this company, or just kind of having a strong backbone. And a lot of influencers lack that because they see the dollar signs come in.
Yeah.
So they start to lose the backbone a little bit as they go on. But yeah, that would be the first, the number one thing that I would recommend, even to beginner influencers.
Yeah.
It's just have a backbone, believe in yourself, don't sell yourself short.
That is so great. Paul Katami, who I told you was on our panel, and Paul and Jeff were the couple who were the lead plaintiffs in the Prop 8 lawsuit that prevailed eventually after 4.5 years and allowed a lot of people to get married, a lot of gay couples to get married. And he was talking yesterday about take a stand, and I think have a backbone. That feels very connected to me to do that. How does fragrance relate to have a backbone?
I would say, honestly, kind of there's a lot of critique on fragrance. If you go on fragrantica.com, you will see the most harshest reviews.
Yeah.
If you go on some TikTok reviews, you'll see some pretty harsh reviews on fragrances that the mass majority probably loves. You know, that the person who walks past it will be like, oh my god, that smells amazing. So I think having a backbone when it comes to fragrance is liking what, actually, I love that you mentioned this. I was going through a little bit of an issue after I released my most recent fragrance, where I read some negative comments, of course, which, you know, it's always going to get to us. And within that, I felt so like I almost was allowing the negativity to defeat my belief in my own craft.
Mm-hmm.
So to get my like backbone back up in order, I spoke to a friend who's a brand owner, and we just had a really small, brief conversation, like super tiny. And it was just that, where he mentioned something to me, and he said, if you love it and if you believe in it, that's all that matters, and nobody else's opinion matters, as long as you love what you crafted. So I think that having a backbone inside of this would be believing and loving what you craft. Even if 500 people love it, and then there's one person out of like 500 that don't like it, it's like, how are you going to allow that one person's like nose to affect the other 500 people's nose who said like, oh my god, this is amazing, we love it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important step.
I'm just tripping out because you're literally, you could be a screenwriter, you could be an actor, you could be, what you're talking about right now is pure creativity. So anybody who doesn't connect with fragrance, they can still connect to what you're talking about, right?
Thank you.
Because you're talking about storytelling.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
absolutely.
You know, and the value that we all have inside of us, right? And it's recognizing our own value, that every story has meaning, every story has purpose, and I think that's one of the things that maybe has gotten away from us. And so I think a voice like yours, helps bring it back quickly.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, because
honestly, it's like brands like your guys' that help bring it back as well. Like having a real voice behind a brand really matters. There's so many brands nowadays that are like, like white label. They'll do anything, and then they'll end up in like all these massive stores, and they'll become like massive, and like there's no love or passion behind it. Yeah. So I think seeing a brand that has a lot of love and passion behind it is really inspiring. It's like super inspiring.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I mentioned to you that positive psychology is part of my background that I brought with my producing and my acting and my writing, and brought that together. And positive psychology in the most basic sense of the word is what's right with us instead of what's wrong with us.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about, right? Is what our value is that we bring to the table when we walk in a room. Are we a son? Are we a husband? Are we a friend? Are we a good husband? A good friend?
Absolutely.
And we have value. And the thing that I love about fragrance is this direct connection. And I think Paul Reacts is so freaking cheeky and fun and playful, and a way for everybody to kind of like let all the garbage go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's what you're kind of doing. It's just saying, let go of the garbage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I've always said this about my audience, but in particular, I always felt like my audience is just a very positive, loving group of people, and you also you create your audience. It depends on like who you are as a person. Your audience is like a mirror of you, because they're only going to follow you if they resonate with you, if they have the same beliefs as you. So I always say that like my audience has been so amazing and so kind this entire like 5 years that I've been on this journey of like content creation, and a massive part of it, like I truly like stem to believe, is because I tried to stay as positive as possible. I tried to stay positive on my platform in a way that's, I don't necessarily think it's 100% beneficial to, how do I say this the right way? I don't think it's necessarily beneficial to go and shit on other people if you don't like their, how can I say this? Sorry, I just want to make sure that it comes out correctly.
Yeah, go.
I think that people have access to social media and they're able to say a lot of stuff and be really brave online, but sometimes we should think twice about what we post.
Yeah.
I guess to like wrap up
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. I think it's an important point. I mean, the thing is it's like, how can you be authentic? And we don't want to have to watch everything that we say. And by the way, sometimes somebody doesn't dig a fragrance.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And there might be some actually good reasons. I mean, I'm going to share some with you, and I'm putting my neck out there. I would rather have you be honest with me.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm hoping that some of them go well, but at the end of the day, if one or two go well for you, that's a win as well, because you have a collection, right?
Yeah.
And we all respond differently because of how we relate to, because of how fragrance connects to all of us with our memories.
100%. I also look at fragrance very similar as art. Sorry, I have to turn this stupid phone off. I totally already did that. I also look at fragrance as this type of art. Now, not everyone could look at the same piece of art and appreciate it, but I think we could all agree that there is something to appreciate about art in total. So although it may not be my cup of tea, it was obviously the perfumer's cup of tea, or the audience who bought its cup of tea, the people who came back to rebuy it. You know what I mean? I think that a really big issue is within the fragrance community, other people will try to make somebody feel bad for liking what they like, and kind of like bashing them, and that it kind of goes back to like the whole backbone thing. Like, if you know what you like, stay with that. Like, if you know what you like, and if somebody's like, I don't like that fragrance, who cares? Like, who cares if they don't like it? Because you'll see comments online where someone will make a video and it'll be like, I love this perfume, it smells amazing. And like the top comment in the video will be like, I actually hate this perfume. And you know what I mean? It's like, well, it's very personal. Fragrance is so personal. What I may like, you may hate. What you may like, I may hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that that's like another big thing within fragrance. But it's also about being respectful. I think that as someone who's created 3 fragrances, multiple in the future, I have this sense of like, if you don't like my fragrance, I respect you and I totally get it. But, I may not necessarily feel like it's the way that they describe it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We may not agree on terms, but then we have different noses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It may be hurtful to hear and to read comments and to
but
watch.
It's still your little baby.
Yeah, it's still it still hurts at the end of the day, but that's more of a personal feeling and a personal thing. So when I do see, like, to be honest, everyone, when you create fragrance, it's so subjective. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like it, somebody who has a negative opinion on it, somebody who has negative feedback. And when you create the fragrances, when you're the one behind it, you're kind of like, you see it, you get hurt, but there's 2 ways you could go about it. You could be reactive, and you could lose your mind over it, and you could, you could make responses and try to justify why you believe you're right and why you think your fragrance is amazing. Or you could honestly be like, I respect your opinion, and then take what they said onto the next craft and realize, like, corrective criticism could be like some of the best thing for us. I just think how they deliver it is really important. I think the delivery on the corrective criticism, it's like, I love this fragrance, but I wish there was less of a coconut note and more of vetiver note, right?
Yeah.
I would be like, wait, okay, thank you so much. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Instead of some other ways that people on the internet will go around and be like, I fucking hate this fragrance. It smells like trash. I would wear it if the coconut milk was less strong and there was a little bit more vetiver. Like, that intro, I'm like, where am I going to take it with that? Like, how could I respond to that in particular? So, yeah, I think to circle that whole thing back up was kind of just like having respect. Would you go and tell the person in front of their face, like, hey, the fragrance you made is fucking trash? I don't necessarily think so, because I don't think it's necessary. I think that sometimes we feel like it's so... Social media has gone to a place where everyone feels like they need to share their opinions, but that's fine. But yeah,
But is it? No, but I think, look, you compared it to art, right? And I think if would somebody do that? Yeah, there's going to be this group of people with art that walk in, they have their comments on the painting, and some of those, the artist wants to hear, and some of them the artist doesn't want to hear. Same with a play, same with a movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think you're a great example of how to share valuable information, and also we can take it or leave it too. You know, I think it's good to be playful, and also, you know, one of the things that we have inside of all of our boxes is this word block, and it's a 300 word block that's free yourself from, and it's 300 words. It's free yourself from bedhead, free yourself from bad lighting, free yourself from doom scrolling, free yourself from being a Karen, free yourself from being a dick. But it's also like free yourself from racism, homophobia, you know, xenophobia, and the list goes on. It's, you know, free yourself from war. And, you know, it's cheeky in 1 minute, it's very serious, it's everything in between, and a lot of it doesn't apply to us in an individual moment, you know? So we can kind of pick and choose, and I think the same is with fragrance, with notes, and with feedback. You know, we pick and choose what works for us on that day.
Yeah.
We have different moods. It's different times of the year. We're going to see different people and all of that. You know, have you been to the Barnes Museum in Philly?
I haven't. I've never been to Philadelphia. I lived in Maryland, which isn't too far from.
No, it's not far.
Yeah, I've never been.
So I was trying. So near Guy, who has perfumology in Philadelphia, he's going to be part of our tour.
Oh, that's amazing.
The second to last leg. And I was trying to arrange to be at the Barnes Museum, and you're talking about art, and it is one of the most incredible museums in the world.
Oh my God.
It's really phenomenal. And the art is like, I mean, you actually could touch it. You can't touch it. But it's like, yeah, and it's like more, like the amount of art that is literally right in front of us, worth gazillions, but it just stops you in your tracks. It's incredible. So maybe we'll coordinate and we'll go see Near and head over there to go see that sometime. If you guys really, you'll dig it. It's really special.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to share some of these with you. And so we have our 4 elements right now: earth, water, air, and fire.
Yeah.
And what we've done is we're now creating our 5th and 6th elements. And the 5th element is ether, that which connects all the elements. And our 6th element is numinous, that which transcends the elements.
Oh my God, that is so cool. That is so cool. So, I was actually smelling air right before we started to film, and I was telling them that it reminded me of, it like took me back to like nostalgia. It reminded me of being around like 9 or 10 years old, and I lived in New York City at the time. Yeah. And it was winter. And I don't know why, it reminded me of being in this apartment that we had. It was on Avenue U, New York City. It was like, so it was very like special smelling this just now. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And I had this in the sample pack, because we met at the Scentbird
event in New York. Yeah,
which was amazing. And you handed me over a little sample pack, and since then, yeah, it's been really cool.
It reminded me when your birthday is.
May 9th.
May 9th.
Yes.
So you're a Taurus.
Yes, so I'm an earth sign.
Right. And what did you think of the earth? Did you smell the earth?
Let's go and get into it now.
Oh, there we go.
What are the notes behind it? Is it like necessarily for like the zodiac signs and kind of like those elements?
Yes and no.
Okay, for sure.
Yes and no. And here's why I say yes and no. Because you don't have to give a crap about any of that stuff at all, right?
Absolutely.
Who cares? Do you like how it smells? But we really did put in so much energy into that. So from a storytelling standpoint, that we wanted to, a lot of it was because Todd and I didn't know a lot that we were going to experience over the next couple of years. But how do we transcend generations, cultures, to start bringing people back together? And so we also worked with neuroscientists, neuroperfumery on this, and you know, we really tried to dive in, make them clean fragrances, you know, everything that we were doing. And so, yeah, they do work together, you know, in that sense, but also what we asked is in the story to throw something off.
Yeah.
Right? So that a real nose would smell it and go, okay, I get it, earth. But what the hell else is going on?
Absolutely.
You know, and just to mess with people a little bit, you know, was pretty much, you know, so.
And these were made in grass scraps?
Yes. So that's Xavier Blazeau is the perfumer. The nose, just turn this
Oh my God, okay. I get saffron. I think that that is definitely like top note feature for sure. Like I feel like the saffron is very present. yeah, it's a little bit powdery and kind of like timeless, I want to say. Like, I feel like I would have smelled this 10 years ago and I would have had the same reaction that I've had right now. Like, it's very timeless. Like,
It's also got absinthe and labdanum in it that isn't on there.
really?
Yeah. I think the absinthe is this little special treat that's in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. How long was the creation process on this one?
Just about a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. This one is like, I get the earthiness, I get the like groundedness of the scent, but there's, like I said, there's this beautiful powderiness that kind of makes it timeless, to where I could imagine like somebody like super sophisticated and rich wearing this in like the like Great Gatsby days, but also it still resonates so much perfectly like now. Like, it doesn't smell like an outdated fragrance, but it gives almost like this, I want to say, nostalgic of, I don't know.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
No,
I love that.
Of course.
I don't want to burn you out with all the other. You've smelled our collection before,
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to. Ralph Schweiger. I might be pronouncing it wrong. Chandler Burr told me yesterday that Ralph pronounces it different, but Ralph's not correct. So I guess it's Chandler Burr. So this is the fifth element, ether.
Really light and airy. I feel like that is very like, there's a little bit of spice for me, but it's not, I don't want to say like it's actually spice. It may just be like a spiciness from like I don't want to say saffron again, but is there a saffron?
No, it's so funny. It's the bell pepper to me is a bell pepper and hyacinth.
Okay, that is crazy. So it's like a green spice in a way. I feel like bell
Yeah.
pepper, like the scent of bell
Yeah.
pepper, could lean like more in like a green. I don't know how to pronounce it. The geranium.
Geranium. Shut up. Oh no, get the geranium right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also,
Wow, that is really interesting. That is really cool. How long have you guys worked on this one for?
like 6 months
Yeah.
right now, and so we're supposed to be launching by the end of the summer.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's getting close.
That is.
We
Can I
have.
put some of that on my skin.
Oh my God, I love that. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? And again, I don't want to burn you out, so I've got two.
No, please. I want to smell them.
I've got
please.
two for Mathilde Bajawi. Do you know Mathilde Bajawi?
I believe I heard of them. Yes.
So Mathilde did the Tilda Swinton for Etat Libre d'Orange fragrance.
Yeah.
And Jasmine and Myrrh for Joe Malone. I mean, she's just so lovely.
Absolutely.
And this one is, I'm going to do this one first. This is Numinous, that which transcends the elements.
This leans so like a beautiful green on my wrist. I'm actually like in love with this scent.
Oh
and
my
I feel
God.
like my manager, if he would smell this, he would like freak out. I know that this would be like so up your alley too. It's like green and earthy, and like I totally get where it's a mix of, yeah, you have to smell it. I feel like you'll really like that one. Oh my God, yeah, I want to wear that to Japan. That is so good. I'm like, do you have a sample?
I'll get you some.
Okay, and this one is going to be
This is Numinous,
Numinous.
and that's modification 1. It's actually modification 2, but I'm thinking that it might be.
Wow, this is it's almost like, from what I pick up, is a nutty, woody type of scent in a way. It's very smoky, and there's still a little bit of like sweetness.
Yeah,
What is
this is crazy.
bergamot, incense, coffee? How do I pronounce that one?
Labdanum.
Labdanum, patchouli, tonka.
Yeah.
Okay, the patchouli is definitely, for me, it's so hard, and patchouli definitely does not perform right on my skin. Like, that's one of the notes where it's 50-50. I see patchouli and I'm like, okay, 50-50. I wouldn't guess necessarily that this is patchouli,
Yeah.
which I like, honestly. If I could smell patchouli the second I smell it, I'm like, okay, I don't know if this will work for me. I wouldn't guess that this is patchouli, but it's really nice. It's a
Yeah.
really nice blend of both. I feel like it's really well balanced. The coffee note, after you mention it, I feel like the incense and the coffee note is kind of like balancing off of each other so perfectly that you get like a smoky coffee, but it's not in a sweet way,
Yeah.
but it's also not bitter. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this is really interesting, and I think that this was mod number 1, you said?
It's mod number 2, but it's the one in my brain that is like kind
The
of
one.
leading the pack right at the
Yeah.
moment. But now I'm gonna challenge.
Well, yeah, I have to
myself.
try mod number 1 now to see which one I like more. Okay, this one's more softer.
Well, you know, it's so funny. You see that it's got vetiver. It's basically lighting it up there with some of the tones that you love.
You know, I would say I feel like number 1 is a little bit more softer and reachable. Like, I feel like it's a little bit more understandable. You know what I mean? I feel like this, it takes a second for my nose to fully understand and get a grip of it. I'm kind of tossed between both right now.
Here's the thing is, what's happened is she's amazing because whatever I've thrown at her, she's done the opposite.
I love it.
It's really important because this is numinous, right?
Yeah.
That which transcends the elements, and you're like, okay, what the hell is... I want to drop F-bombs right and left, but I'm being a very good boy right now. You know, so now we're talking about, you know, because this is, you know, the moment that the light happens. It's the moment. It's an alien looking down on the earth instead of looking from the earth up. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so there's that kind of death and decay element that I've kind of wanted in there, and then the transition, the rebirth, the reborn, and all of that, you know. And so she's really playing with that in such a cool way. So I love that you've kind of picked up on that. We'll see where she goes.
No, that's
going to
really
do
fun.
another version there.
No, that's really, really exciting and really fun. And I feel like having that intense of a storyline and then kind of allowing the fragrance to tell that story for you, it's so beautiful and it's so much fun. And I feel like within, you know, the fragrance community, storytelling is not something that we see too much. It's very like, if you like vanilla, you'll love this. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is very fun, and I think that that's something that the fragrance community could be missing. But this is number 1. I'm like, whew, love it.
Oh my God, that's so
no,
awesome.
I totally like this one.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe one it is.
That is so.
Here's this one too. I love this one. I'll tell you.
That is ether. So and we'll get some for you.
You did like it? I told you.
Yeah.
I knew you would like it.
Yeah. Well, so Ralph and Matilda are doing an interview, so I'm so excited to tell them that you guys love these.
That's great.
Yeah,
Please tell them that it
so
was like
they're
fantastic.
they're right at the end of the tour, you know. So it's super cool. All right, listen. I know we've been doing this. I want to just talk to you about our mindful collection, which
I'm
is going to be
so
coming out.
excited for this.
These I'm going to just show. These are bottles actually, and
this is going to be the kind of like. This is the blueprint of it, kind of in a way. Where
yeah,
it'll
it's
look...
exactly. So that's a wax 3D printing of it, right? So it'll be in these 3 colors. The bottom is glass. The top is aluminum, like fast seal aluminum, right on it. And then, but it will be finished all in this kind of
Chrome.
silky chrome, kind of a matte silk chrome finish.
Those are so good.
On that,
one looks
yeah,
really
I've got like
amazing.
a car detailer in Los Angeles right now painting these so that
Wow.
I can send them to the people who are making them to get the right colors and
Yeah.
everything on that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, come on, put this in your bag for Coachella.
I know.
Shut up,
Seriously.
right?
Seriously, and like on a shelf.
Yeah.
I think that it's really unique. I think that it's really
Thank
unique. I
you
love
so
the
much.
packaging so much.
Thank you. We're so psyched.
Yeah, I'm
and
super
so
excited to see them.
these are Savor, Awe, and Vibe.
Okay.
And I'm like, do I actually start you with Savor?
I think we have to.
Okay.
I seen that. That was the first thing that I seen. It was
I don't know.
dark
Anthony's
chocolate.
over there nodding his head.
What was the notes on this one again? Dark chocolate.
Yes,
and
dark chocolate, plum pistachio, almond. Which
tonka bean, rose, tobacco. Yeah, I need to try this one.
Okay.
I'm so excited. And in your head, before I smell it, I would love to hear your take on this fragrance and sort of the inspiration behind it.
Well, the Mindful collection is, it truly is based on mindfulness, and the idea of when you have maybe fasted or you've gone without food, you've gone way too long, and if you actually take a plum and don't just wolf it down, but you actually kind of really experience the plum, right? You fasted, you haven't had any food, and it's the first thing coming back. And to savor that, but also to savor the smell of a lover, or to savor the smell of a baby, or to savor the smell of a moment of loss, or to savor a walk in the woods.
I love that. I love this so freaking much. Okay, I have to smell it now. I gotta get into it. It's dried down. Let's smell it. Wow. Wow. That is beautiful.
Oh,
that
thank
is
you
so
much.
freaking good. That is like...
I was so excited for you to smell this. This is like,
wow.
Alexa,
the pistachio note on this is, it's definitely strong and sweet and gourmand. The chocolate note is a little bit toned down, but also I feel like when I think of a pistachio chocolate, the first thing that I think of is like the insane Dubai chocolates that are like going around right now.
Yes, I just
like,
had one the other day.
Yeah, no, like, and it's insane, but also I don't necessarily know if I want to smell like that.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that I thought of when I seen pistachio and chocolate. This is on a total different element, and it's very like, it's almost like gourmand forward. It's like, we've seen a million different things of gourmand. We've seen gourmand done in a bunch of different ways. This feels a little bit more forward. This feels a little bit more, I want to say elevated, but also in a way kind of like undone. It smells very like it's never been done before, which is a really big compliment. Wow. And I feel like that's something that I don't really say too often, because I always could say like I have a very strong scent nose memory. Like my olfactive is very rememberable. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I can remember fragrances very strongly.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily have a fragrance that I could pinpoint this to be. Do you want to smell this? Because I feel like you really like it. No, I know you're gonna fall in love with that. I know. He just did a little gasp. You guys couldn't hear. He just did a little gasp. It's literally.
I love pistachios.
That is so. Can I put that one on my skin as well?
100%.
So sorry.
And the thing is so Maud Shabani is the perfumer on these, and she really was smart with this, because first we had a round with hazelnut, and then she did this mix of pistachio almond, which I think takes that we know exactly what it is off by adding that almond.
No, 100%.
That was like so smart that 100%. She did that.
And I feel like it's a sweeter almond. Sometimes I say almond could lean into a cherry, like a cherry-esque type of scent. And I feel like this, like putting it on my skin, it smells like a pistachio gelato, but in a much more surreal way, in a very like the tobacco inside of here and the dread on this skin. Yeah, I feel like tobacco notes could lean a little bit sweet sometimes. That is insane. Yeah, I feel like this takes me to like a different dimension. It doesn't like, I'm smelling it and it doesn't necessarily smell real. Like it's just very like
it's a very sophisticated gourmand.
Yeah. I could totally see that. I could totally see that.
You know, the rose in it, to me, was like a really nice little surprise, a little treat there in it as well, you know. Because that can go, so many people don't like rose. It represents certain things to them.
Of course.
You know, they love smelling a rose, but rose fragrance, they, you know, might be put off for something, for some reason.
Of course.
And yet, when it's just handled nicely, it really just brings this little sweet memory to it, you know.
It could absolutely do it. I'm not the biggest fan of rose fragrances. It's very few that I could find myself to use. Even like when it comes to like rose body washes, hand creams, moisturizers, lotions, I'm like not sensitive to the note, but it's just never been something that I've leaned towards.
Yeah.
So I completely understand that. Honestly, I didn't necessarily pick up rose until you said it. Once you said it, my brain kind of opened up, and I was like, wait.
Yeah.
I was like, I do get it, but it's almost masked by this gourmand, this sweetness from the gourmand, but like they said, there's a sophistication to it. It doesn't necessarily feel like a childish gourmand, one, but it also doesn't feel like a body spray gourmand where like, there's like a million different like body sprays that are super duper sweet, and like this just feels very not done before, which is, like I said, like I think the kindest thing that I could say, because that's like,
so lovely.
I feel like my nose and my olfactive memory is insane. Like I will smell something and be like, wow, that reminds me of like a 2001 night. I'm like, I was literally 1 year old. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, I think that's really cool. And I'm really excited.
Let me ask you, have you ever, I'm asking this completely random question.
No, please.
Have you smelled Jeffrey Bean's Gray Flannel?
Gray flannel, that's like
It's
really
like a
hard
gazillion
fragrance.
years old.
It's like a really hard fragrance to get right now, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's been discontinued. I've just recently read something about that. I haven't tried it, but I read about it.
I have not smelt it in decades, but I'm really curious because how you keep talking about, past fragrances or, legendary fragrances or older fragrances, and it just keeps bringing up this scent memory for me, which is with this one, that and Pierre Cardin were like the ones my mom bought for me.
Oh my god, absolutely.
Pierre
I love
Cardin
that.
one, So
I
this
love
is
that so
all.
much. And what is your vision behind this one?
I mean, the really fast one is, really just standing out under the sky. And it can be a desert sky, it can be, I'm a producer, and I've really had the great fortune of being in some really ridiculous places. And the Namibian desert,
Wow.
you know what I mean? At Nepal, at Mount Everest, and it could also just be when there's no lights at all around and the sky is just so radically, like the stars just banging it out, that kind of thing. But day or night, just watching the sunset, where you just grab somebody and say, hey, come look at the sunset, that's all.
No, I love it. I love it. For me, I get this powdery, beautiful, radiant citrus. When you said sunset, it kind of, for me, it reminded me very much of like a sunrise, kind of like that when the sun first like peeks through, and you start to get like that orange. It's just that in particular is what it smells like to me, and
Right.
the name behind it, does it have to do? What does that like? How did you find that that's what you wanted to name it? Because I'm very curious. Because when I smell this, it's almost like like I get like that like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the idea with this tour, the idea with our brand, the idea with positive psychology, for me, whether Dr. Martin Seligman, I think he does as well, but that awe are the things that moment, that beat where we realize there's something, we're connected to something very vast, very big, remarkable, godlike, whatever that is to you, that's what awe is. And you were kind of describing bright, and I do think that it's a very, it is part of a collection. It's part of this mindful collection, and so the Savor is very kind of, ooey, ah-y, right? But this is bright and I think energizing, and for me it's about opening our mind to gratitude.
Yeah,
Great
absolutely.
things that we have.
Absolutely. I get this, like, fresh, I want to say, like, it reminds me of, like, freshly taking my clothes out of the dryer, and, like, that kind of, like, bright warmth, sunshine. It's a very, very unique and beautiful scent. I will say that.
Thank
I will
you,
say
thank
that for
you.
sure. And this one's going to be in the blue packaging.
That's in the blue.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Because it literally, it's as if you were looking into the sky.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you could capture something looking into the sky, you guys did that. So I'm excited for
Oh, sweet. Okay, maybe this is where it's all going to fall apart now.
Okay, I'm scared. Don't scare me.
This is vibe. It says transcend here, but it's
Okay.
vibe.
Okay, let's see what vibe is going to give us. The notes on it is bergamot, almond, clove buds, thyme, suede, raspberry, sandalwood, basil, amber, vanilla, cedarwood, patchouli. To be honest, I would read these notes and I would kind of be on the edge of my seat and be like, okay, this is something that could either be a love or something that I may not be the biggest fan. So let's go ahead and see.
All right.
It's wow. Okay. That the fir that in particular, that note always reminds me of holiday season and the holidays. Yeah, this one's a little bit different. It's a little bit rich. It's super intense. I could say that. This is not for the faint of heart. I feel like, you know what I mean. It's definitely.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It's a vibe. It's something that you have to get it. Like it's.
Yeah.
And I do agree that, although between all of them, I feel like my favorite is probably Savor, and I feel like that was obvious. Like it was just that is right up my alley. It smells like it was made for me in a complete way. So this, it's a little bit more different. It's a little bit more unique. It stands out in a crowd, and I love the name Vibe. I feel like I could totally understand why, because like I just said, although it may not be their vibe, it's your vibe. And I kind of like to circle it all back around. It's one of those things where if you like something, you stand behind it and you own it and like have that backbone to own it. So yeah, I think that this is really, really interesting. And I'd like to see what you guys have done with this. It's really interesting to see what was the process behind this one. What was your
That was a trouble for me, and I'll share it. So we changed the name. Do you know Yosh Han? Yosh is a perfumer, and she's an amazing person, and she just said, no, you got to change the name. And she said, this is what you're going for. This is, and we all were like, okay, yeah, you're right,
Absolutely.
They're
so with the vision, they have it, they see it.
Yeah, that made sense, and I like the idea of vibe, going and listen to a jazz set, or swimming out in the ocean at night.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Or being in a Manhattan apartment looking out over the city lights, that kind of thing, that vibe. Or, walking into, I could see somebody wearing that into a rave.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a vibe.
Yeah.
You're wearing that in there, and I think a lot of people will be attracted to that.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's a handful of fragrances that I have that are quite literally just for moments if I want, if I'm gonna go out on a party, but I want it to smell a little bit I don't want to say dirty in a way that it's weird, but in a good way. It's almost that sort of scent where you're okay, this isn't a normal scent.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's gonna turn heads. I have this one fragrance that smells really similar to a vinyl, the plastic of a vinyl, and you get kind of this when you buy a record. And you take the plastic off and the cardboard box, you get all of those aromas. So it's very unique and very different. And I've worn it 4 times, and I could recount every time I've worn it because it stands out to me so strongly. And I feel like having a fragrance like that is that's another way that you're gonna find your core audience and the people who are truly for your brand, is having those kind of different fragrances that you're able to put I don't want to say a risk, because I don't think that this fragrance is a risk. I think that honestly this is a great fragrance, and I could see it being a lot of people's cup of tea. But I think that it is really great having one of those fragrances where it's half of your audience loves it, and then half of your audience may not love it as much. because then it's like, you know, that other 50% of your audience, you could do a lot. You could play a lot, and you will have like a, you know, you will get a good response from some of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then those who don't will come around to it. They'll figure it out within the next launch or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that it was really interesting. And
Do you like it as a collection?
this is a really fun collection. I think that that's something that I would love to emphasize. It's a very fun collection, very playful collection, and it's something that it's unique. It stands out. The packaging is fun, and it's playful, and it's different. This is gonna look really fucking cool. Excuse me. Sorry. This is gonna look really, really cool inside of my perfume room, on my shelves. But also, I think that what you're gonna get inside will be a surprise for those who will possibly blind purchase or buy online, not have a chance to smell it beforehand. Because, like, for one, the notes are the perfect, like, you read the notes and everything just makes sense. And once you smell it, it all comes together. You smell each note. You truly get that. But there's also this shock value when you smell it that, like, you could see these notes listed on the screen on the computer and try and think of what it will smell like. But once it gets to your face on paper or on your wrist, it's going to be something completely different and completely like, you know, your nose is going to look at it differently. So there's a shock value to these scents that are, like, I was personally so shocked with Savor. Like, that was like probably one of the best scents that I've smelled from the line. Like, it's truly just like, it really did that for me. And
I cannot wait to get you some.
no,
Yeah.
please, like, I would, no, that one's fantastic, and
Yeah.
it's just getting like better on
And
the
ether
skin
as well. And
I know, ether was
Really?
really, yeah, it was super nice.
Yeah.
I knew it would be right up your alley too. But yeah, there's definitely a shock value to these, and I really like what you guys are doing. I know this is a personal question, but do we have a price point on what these little guys would be?
110. 30 mil for 110.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a release date plan? Do we have any?
It's really just about the bottles right
Okay.
now, but we're feeling pretty confident that we can hit September 15th, but it's going to be right in that zone. But it'll be there for the holidays.
That's
and
really
everything.
cool.
Yeah.
That is really
Yeah,
cool. That's
yeah.
really interesting. I'm really excited for
Yeah.
that. I think that, like, yeah, no, your guys' audience is going to be in for a treat.
Thank you
In
so
for a
much.
treat.
But and I'm going to see if this one. So this was when it was called Transcend, and I was fighting for this, but it's
Oh wow, which one is this?
one that's not going to make the cut right now. It's going to end up on the cutting room floor.
Okay,
But
but you have to
maybe
keep
for
this for the future.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
you have
all
to
right.
keep this for the future because this is like,
So maybe we'll talk about that, and you can help creative direct that.
yeah, no, this is really nice.
Okay.
I definitely don't think you guys should just leave this
Okay.
out of the line because this is a really nice, almost like, I want to say skin-like saffron. There's a little bit of like, not spice, but this punch to it. What's the notes on this?
That one is like, that's got so much going on in that.
It does.
Yes.
It's so complex. It's really
Yeah.
deep. Like, it goes
Elemi
deeper.
and Orris and White Oud and
Oh.
yeah.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
definitely see the
And,
white oud.
yeah, and White Lotus.
Okay, I have a
And-
question. As someone who works with perfumes a lot, do you see the note of saffron and oud being similar, or is that something that is just my nose to where I could compare saffron and oud to each other very, very like?
I think they live in that same zone.
Okay.
Right? And I think what I've experienced with people, that there are people that don't like saffron, and those often are people that don't like oud. Right? So I think they live in that same zone.
I like, because you said that. That is very true. My husband in particular, he's not a big fan of oud. But now that I think about it, there's not really too many saffron fragrances that he's also a big fan of. Like, I have this one saffron fragrance that's like pretty niche, and I know he smelled it once or twice and like totally did not like it at all. We have this oud fragrance that I love wearing. I think that it's I love oud. I could wear oud because I've also trained my nose to enjoy oud. As someone who's doing this for so long, it's like you're gonna have to learn to love oud eventually. And yeah, I think that's really beautiful. The white oud inside of here, I wouldn't necessarily pick out that it's oud until you said so.
Yeah.
And I thought like it was saffron because it's so much more softer and so much more like of a velvety like texture when it comes to the scent. So yeah, it's really interesting. I really like that one. You guys definitely have to keep an open eye out for that one. That one's like, you never know when that will be like the hit. Like sometimes things that don't make the cut end up being like the biggest hits.
Keep them.
Yeah,
So,
you just keep it.
Listen, this has been such a treat. It feels like what a perfect way to launch this journey. I have 9 more days ahead of me on a motorcycle.
Be safe, please.
I mean, and today it was long, but I want to just ask you one last question, and it's in regards to human flourishing.
Yeah.
Connection, bringing people together. In your work and what you do, have you seen that? Are you hopeful right now in seeing that that not only fragrance but your work and the energy out there right now that people do that we can start coming back together again?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think like the first sign of that was the fragrance community becoming so strong. In 2022, it was probably around 15 or 20 of us. If you go on TikTok right now, there's thousands of fragrance influencers, which is amazing because there's so much room for us. There's so many rooms for so many amazing creators. It truly became like overnight. It went from a few creators to hundreds of creators to thousands of creators now speaking about fragrance and sharing their topics and their love and their beliefs on fragrance. So I do believe that there's chances for communities to come back together because I've seen it with fragrance. I've witnessed it with fragrance. I was physically a part of it and felt the change and felt the movement and felt how although I love fragrance, there's millions of other people who are just as passionate as me, and if we all believe in the same thing, if we all have the same passion, that could create great connections, great friendships, great memories.
Absolutely.
One of the best things that this whole fragrance industry has brought me is so many of my friends, so many people that I speak to on a daily basis now, all started from a bottle of perfume or just talking about perfume. So yeah, I truly believe that there's so much sense of community that is able to come back, and it's almost like every couple of years the whole world loses a sense of community, and then we try to have to regain it back or feel out that sense. With fragrance, I will say that it has truly been so continuous of love and happiness and support, like energy of being supportive of one of another. It's very difficult inside of this industry to not be happy for all of your friends because everyone's always accomplishing so many amazing things, whether if that's collaborations or if they're maybe the model behind the product or just if they had a chance to work on a product. I've made hundreds of friends on this, and it's crazy. I was just inside of New York City for the Fragrance Awards. The Fragrance Foundation Awards, excuse me, and I was running into people that I've followed on social media for like years, that like the first time that I'm meeting them and like seeing them in person.
Yeah.
And it's one power of social media, of course, but I do believe that there wouldn't be a power of social media if there wasn't a power to community, because the fragrance community is where I drew social media. You know what I mean? And even before Instagram and TikTok was a thing, there was still Fragrantica and these blog sites and these websites to go and talk about fragrance and to be so opinionated online.
Yeah.
Like I said, some people shouldn't have access to the internet. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah.
That's so great. I mean, honestly, you're amazing. We felt as though the community has been so generous to us, and you've been incredibly generous to us, and we're so grateful. And I hope we get to do this again. Sit down and
let me know.
Get these fragrances over to you and creative direct the next big hit.
You said it.
Right?
You said it. Let's do it. That'll be
man.
fun. That'll be really fun.
Thank you so much.
This was such an amazing experience. Thank you for being so vulnerable and showing me your newest creations and allowing me to sit here, talk about them, speak about them in full transparency. And I really appreciate that. And I'm excited for what you guys have coming up. It seems really fun. It looks really fucking cool. Excuse my French.
Thank you.
And yeah, let me know when these are out because I need.
You get all
multiple bottles
Yes,
of
you get
Savor.
all
That one is
sets. Okay.
so good. So yeah.
Savor. Paul Fino, Paul Reacts. Everybody, thank you so much. Please follow us on the tour. You can find us at freeyourself.com and at freeyourself and flourish. And yeah, wish me luck. I want to be safe and
Definitely
make
safe
it all the way
wishes.
home and make some fragrance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for your journey and to continue to watch. Thank you for letting me be the first one. And yeah, where are you off to next?
To Sedona, Arizona.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That'll be cool. That'll be cool. So I
Awesome.
guess we'll see what you guys do out there, huh?
Awesome, brother.
Okay, for sure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.